Explain the observer design pattern. The observer design pattern is a behavioral design pattern used when you want multiple objects to be notified automatically whenever another object changes its state. In simple words, there is one main object called the subject and there are many dependent objects called observers. Whenever the subject changes something, all observers get notified immediately without the subject calling them manually one by one. This pattern is extremely useful in event-driven systems, real-time updates, UI frameworks, notification systems, message broadcasting and publish-subscribe architectures. It helps you maintain loose coupling because the subject does not need to know who the observers are or how many exist. It only broadcasts updates and whoever is watching receives the message. Now let's understand this pattern with a very clear and practical demonstration so the concept becomes absolutely easy to remember. We will create a weather station which is the subject and two observers, a phone display and a TV display. Whenever the temperature changes in the weather station, both displays should automatically update without us calling them manually. Here is the complete clean example. We begin by creating an observer interface. This interface contains a single method named update, which accepts the new temperature. Any class that wants to receive updates must implement the observer interface. Next, we create a subject interface that represents the weather station. The subject contains methods to add observers, remove observers, and notify all observers whenever something changes. Now we create the weather station class that implements subject. It stores a list of observers inside an array list. We also define a field named temperature inside the weather station. Whenever the temperature changes, we call notify observers to push updates to all observers. Inside notify observers, we simply loop through all observers and call update on each of them. Next, we create two observer classes, phone display and TV display. Both implement the observer interface and override the update method. Phone display prints phone display temperature updated and TV display prints TV display temperature updated. Now let's walk through the main method. We create a weather station object and store it in variable W. We create a phone display object and a TV display object. We add both observers to the weather station using the addObserver method. Now we change the temperature by calling w.setTemperature25. As soon as we do this, the weather station calls notify observers. So you can see here the setTemperature method. Within setTemperature method, the notify observers method is called. Notify observers loops through all observers and calls update on each one. The phone display prints the updated temperature. The TV display prints the updated temperature. Then we call set temperature again with value 30. Immediately both observers receive this update and print the new temperature. Let's run the program and you can see observers are notified with respective temperatures. This is the essence of the observer design pattern. Any change in the subject automatically gets reflected in all observers without writing separate method calls for each individual observer. Now let's see. When should you use the observer pattern? Use the observer pattern when multiple components depend on the same data and all of them must react whenever the data changes. It helps you avoid manual updates, tight coupling, and repetitive code. It is ideal for real-time notifications, event listeners, publish-subscribe systems, stock market tickers, chat applications, UI frameworks, and anything that requires automatic, consistent updates. Why is the observer important? Observer reduces coupling. The subject does not know who the observers are, it only broadcasts changes. It increases flexibility. Observers can be added or removed at runtime with no impact on the subject. It improves maintainability. The update logic is separated into different observer objects instead of being mixed inside the subject. This makes the system easier to extend, easier to test, and easier to debug. Here is the short interview answer you can confidently speak. The observer design pattern is a behavioral pattern where a subject maintains a list of observers and notifies them automatically whenever its state changes. It is useful in event-driven systems and real-time applications because it removes manual update logic and keeps the subject loosely coupled to its dependents. It allows you to build systems that are easy to extend, easy to maintain, and easy to scale. That is the complete explanation of the observer design pattern.